I walked a mile. I said, maybe I can walk one more mile. Maybe I can walk another mile. At mile 81, my ex-wife looked at me and said, you're not gonna make the time. This is my 40% rule. When your mind knows it's not gonna quit, your body will adapt to whatever is in front of it. I ended up running 20 more miles. I did 101 miles in 19 hours and 6 minutes. And that one day changed, 19 hours. It wasn't SEAL training, it wasn't Ranger School, it wasn't Delta Force, it wasn't any of that crap I went through. It was this 19 hours and 6 minutes that forever changed my life, to know that we as human beings are capable of anything. And we don't need any special kind of parents or tools to get there. So I end you with this. Don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. All I wanted to be was an uncommon man. And my whole life, I was not that. Much worse than that. I started realizing that it's all in your head. The most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you act on it. And my conversation was a bad one. So the people who I thought were up here in my life, these uncommon men, I was putting myself down here. But over a period of time, I started realizing that I'm also uncommon. And I started pissing those uncommon men off by realizing that we all have this ability in our mind. I came home one day from working at a job called Ecolab, where I sprayed for cockroaches. I made $1,000 a month, weighing 300 pounds. And I got home and I watched a show on Discovery Channel of guys carrying boats and logs, Navy SEAL training. And I decided to make a change in my life. And I called the recruiter up and he asked me these questions. He had to meet a certain age, like a certain height and weight limit. I was 6'1" and 300 pounds. He laughed at me. 7 other recruiters laughed at me. One recruiter finally said, come on in, I'm too busy to talk to you on the phone. He didn't know how much I weighed. I walked in the recruiter's office and he looked at me and he said, you're fat and you're black. I said I want to be a Navy SEAL. I didn't know there'd only been 35 African-American Navy SEALs at that time in over 70 years. Basically, I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months because of my age. I was getting too old. I came back 3 months later, 106 pounds lighter. I was 175 pounds, went to 300 pounds, lost 106 pounds to join the Navy SEALs in about 3 months. So I lost that weight really quick, got in the door. Went through 3 hell weeks, finally got through Navy SEAL training, graduated, went on the Ranger School, so on and so forth. This is what kind of put me on the map as far as ultra running goes. I called this guy up named Chris Kosman. Chris Kosman was a race director. He said to me, basically, you have to run 100 miles in 24 hours or less to qualify. I never run past 20 miles in my entire life, and up until now, I probably ran 20 miles this entire year. So he says, I call him up on a Wednesday. He says, you know what, there's a race on Saturday. And if you run 100 miles in 24 hours, I will consider you in my race. So I wasn't real smart growing up, and obviously I wasn't real smart right now. So I did the math like less than a 15-minute mile. So I said, you know what, I can walk this. Dumbest decision I made in my entire life. Went out there about 250 pounds, and I get to mile 50. So this is in San Diego, November. So on a 1 mile track, where you go as many times as you can around 1 mile track for 24 hours. I get to mile 50 in about 12, 13 hours. I sit down. I sit in this blue lawn chair. I saw my ex-wife every single mile. I got Ritz crackers and Mileplex with my nutrition. I was a musclehead, so I drank a lot of Mileplex back then. So basically, here I am drinking Mileplex, Ritz crackers. By mile 70, I haven't gone to the bathroom one time, no water. That Mileplex tastes like hell, and the Ritz cracker is a ball in my mouth. This is where I really realized that, so I'm already a Navy SEAL. This is when I realized that we only use 40% of our mind. This is when I started going crazy with mindset and being a scientist of the mind. We go, I'm at mile 70, I look at my ex-wife. When you sit down not having to go in the bathroom for 12 hours, what must you do? Go to the bathroom. So I sit down and I look at her. It's the farthest I've ever gone in my entire life. 7 miles, I'm happy, I'm feeling good. And I can't get up to go to the bathroom. It's literally from me to end the stage. So I look at her and I said, honey, do you love me? She goes, why? I go, okay, I can't stand up. My blood pressure's all messed up. I go, I'm gonna take a shit on myself right now. So I went, bathed my back, And I started peeing blood down my leg. And my ex-wife's like, oh my God, you gotta stop. This is when I realized throughout my whole life, all the bad times, all the good times, you know what, I'm not gonna quit yet. Let me get better, let me fix my blood pressure. Let me get some potassium, sodium, nutrition in my body. Let me see if I can fix myself. So I said, if I can just walk one more mile after being in the worst shape of my entire life, this would change everything for me mentally going forward. From this kid who came from dirt and nothing, who couldn't read until he was a junior in high school and is now here. I know what it takes to be a combat soldier, and I used to look for courage. I thought courage was a man who won the Medal of Honor. It is. But courage is a man who's willing to put those boots on every single day of his life to go out there and fight for this country where nobody even knows what the hell they're doing or where the hell they're at. You do it for the man beside you.